everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's on the Tube. Welcome back if it's been that long ago, and welcome to our High School Musical, the series, Season 3 episode review. It's been a year. It's been one heck of a year. This time last year, we were still in a pandemic. We were trying to figure things out, and it's been a while. It's been a while, some change. It's been a heck of a year. But we're back finally after a long time away. We're back with Season 3, ready to get the ball rolling, and then there are 8 weeks of fun with brand new episodes. And also, great news, we've already been renewed for the 4th season, meaning that we will be returning for another round of reviews and also another chapter of this journey. Down the road, hopefully in 2023, nothing any more than that. But I'm happy that we already know that when Season 3 ends, I don't know why I thought my camera shut down again, but it didn't. I'm excited. I'm really, really happy that the High School Musical franchise is still alive in preparation for our return to the world of the fictional East High. I binged all the music soundtracks again. Last week we reviewed Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure, so you can go check that out as well to kind of get us back in the mood. But here we are. We're back to the proper show, and I will say this: first line impressions. This was a good premiere. It was a bit meta. It was a little cringy at some points. I feel like they're becoming a little bit more self-aware of what made the show popular, and they're really doubling it down on that. They're doing this kind of division thing, which mostly when it comes to ensemble show, it's not really my cup of tea, because normally the strongest moments of any ensemble show is when you get to see all the characters interact. And I don't think it's been 100% quite the same feel since Season 1. I was a little critical on that in Season 2, mostly at the time with Nini kind of being separated from the main cast for a decent amount of the season. This season is especially harder since we've been away, and even more so when Season 2 was airing. Olivia Rodrigo has become a worldwide phenomenon. She has been a very big up-and-comer, pop singer. She's been killing it out there. That's great for her, but that obviously means she doesn't really have time for the show. It really does. I'm very thankful they're still keeping her around. They're still keeping her storyline going, just not to a week-to-week basis. It seems like they're exploring this. We'll pop in on her once in a while, kind of on this journey. Whether or not she'll be in Season 4 as a full-time capacity, we'll see how Season 3 goes with her character. But I'm at least thankful we're going to get to see more of her story continue this year, even though she's not with any of the East High cast. And again, I'm not trying to bring gossip into this. I don't think the gossip has anything to do with anything that happened behind the scenes. Why it was just, Olivia's a busy person. She's got a lot of tours to do, more music to produce. But I'm very thankful that, hopefully we all as fans are thankful that, she's still on the show. She still has a storyline, and hopefully the very limited time we get to see her, it will be worth it. And even just seeing her a little bit this week, it definitely pictures her like, we're going to get a smaller story with her this season, but it's going to be so fundamental to her character. Whether or not that ends up being the final leg of what we see of her in this show, or whether or not that goes into Season 4. I'm jumping way too ahead of myself. Overall, this premiere, it was good. You set up the feel. It's a soft reboot. It's a soft revamp. It's not a reboot. It's still our core cast going into a whole new direction, a whole new way of thinking. It definitely combines a lot of aspects of the earlier days of when I was a kid with DCOMs, and it was great to see some familiar faces again. And I can't wait to see what the remaining 7 weeks are to go as we continue this, as we begin this new story for our Wildcats. So let's go through the Butcher recap. It's been a long time for the High School Musical segment of it. So we begin. EJ's picking up some of the Wildcats. Courtney, Carlos. It's been a while. I know Gina. So they're dating as well. I forgot the last one. Damn, it's been so long. I forgot. I apologize. EJ's cousin. I'll remember her name by next week. But yeah, so they're all going to the summer camp that EJ and Nini talked about during Season 1 and parts of Season 2. That same summer camp. So EJ's finally convinced him to come out. Well, not the whole 4. It's not a whole Wildcats trip. And that's a little bit unfortunate. Big Red has to work at the pizza shop this summer. Seb is busy doing something with farm life, so he isn't able to get away from it. Ricky so far is kind of not really dating. Damn, I forgot that girl from last season. Lily from last season, one of the main antagonists. They're seeing each other a bit. Let's just call it that. And yeah, Nini's about to go on a road trip with her moms to Southern Cali. So they're all like, everyone's kind of doing their own thing this summer. And, that kind of makes sense. Summertime when I was in high school, I see my friends at that time period. I saw them every day for 9 to 10 months out of the year. That those 2 months when we're away, that's a little bit of a break. As much as I loved them at the time and I love spending time with them, I needed a break from them. I need to spend some time with other people, or maybe even a smaller crowd, but just not the day-to-day basis anymore, because you get so burned out of it after so long. And that was what I was really appreciating with this, is that even though like I'm a big sucker, I'm a big critical person when it comes to splitting up an ensemble cast, at least we're not getting multiple different storylines at the same time. No, they're busy. We'll see them again, hopefully, as cameos this season, and of course, obviously in full force next season when we come back. It could have also been to COVID, that last season we had to continue onward, but since we're in a summertime season, it was more believable to kind of have those other characters kind of like take a back seat this season, let them come back with a fresh perspective in season 4. And that's a great thing that, we do get to come back for another season, is so that even the characters we do miss, so we will get to see them again next time around. But regardless of that, it's still a smaller cast. I'm catching up a little bit. EJ and Gina are now on this whirlwind romance. It's kind of funny that, the secondary characters that I thought were going to be villains, and a lot of people thought were going to be like kind of like the antagonistic force in season 1, are now the poster couple for season 3. And Ricky and Nini are not even acknowledging each other, it's hilarious in how much high school can change, and as well as the story keeps you guessing, it keeps you going. And honestly, I welcome that change. I welcome that change in direction. It's interesting to see. So they're heading out to the summer camp. EJ's driving them all the way there, and they're singing their rendition of "What Time Is It?" And I'm a little bit honest. This is one of the only time periods where I would have been perfectly comfortable. Like, again, the show does not have to copy any of the movies or any of the inspired movies at any sort. They don't have to. It's just I was really looking forward to them like maybe doing their own take on the song, in terms of like actually using the entire East High set here, which it doesn't seem like they're going to be using this season, which again is fair. It's a summer season, so you don't really need to be at the high school, which it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense on why they did that. But it was a little bit, for me, it was a bit off the song rendition. It really was, because I think I grew up with this expectation of what time is it is. It's one of the most, I think it is the most iconic song out of HSM2's soundtrack, and the fact that it's kind of relegated in their own way to being just like a car karaoke rendition, it's not a bad thing per se. It's just I was kind of a little bit bummed by it, that we could have done a little bit more with it. But it is what it is at the end of the day. You're only able to do so much of it. So they head up to the camp. They arrive there. Immediately they're blown away by, it's not what they're expecting, but in a good way. It's actually a really welcoming summer camp. EJ recreated with a couple of the counselors when he was there. They get their phones taken away, and Courtney's having some social media withdrawal. And it's kind of, she's just like not really down for it, but she's got no choice. 2 weeks will be here before you know it. So they're going to continue onwards on that run. Over back in Salt Lake, Ricky is sadly a TikTok boyfriend, and I can't even believe I said that, like on camera, like I said, a TikTok boyfriend. So he and Lily have become a TikTok couple. Well, mostly they just do couple stuff for TikTok for views. It doesn't seem like they're that popular, since she didn't really argue with him much about it, and it seems like they're. Look, I'm not really gonna try to be mean here and think this is a pseudo kid show with teens. I just get the vibe that, like, these two only really want each other's company, but they don't really have anything in common. It definitely seems like Ricky's only there because he just doesn't want to feel alone. And it used to be like, oh, Nini was here, so I would just be with Nini. But now that Nini's gone, he kind of has it's like he has a kind of like a little bit of a codependency issue, that he needs someone to anchor him down to go to. And Lily just filled that spot for the time being. He's actually going away with them, her and her family, for a 2-week vacation to a ski resort, which I'm like, dude, you got this in the bag. Like, I'm not trying to think like that, but like, you got that. You get a free trip out of this, And also his dad's going away for like a week with Miss Jen, since those two are still dating. But back on that, more on that storyline later. So Ricky is packing up to leave. They do about maybe a dozen TikToks for the road. But just as they're about to leave, Ricky stupidly clumsily, and I gotta say, this was like the worst acted moment in the episode where he just like just shoved into like her bags in the closet, and they all drop, and while he was picking it up, he finds the harness from season 2, which I'm like, first of all, I called that shit. Like, I apologize for my language. I called it. I knew I was right on that, and I was right. And second of all, Lily has been pseudo-dating Ricky for, let's say, the better part of 3 to 4 months by this point. You expect me to believe that she never at one point threw out the harness or maybe try to get rid of the evidence. And she also had him coming over multiple times, so it never crossed her mind that Ricky might accidentally go to the closet to get the harness. I mean, I get that they were trying to write Lily off, and it wasn't your traditional, like, off-screen breakup thing, that they actually brought back the actress for a day of shooting just to break up the characters. Which, okay, that's fine, I guess. I understand why they did that, but still, like, you know, they could have done a better job at it. They could have. So, Ricky, in his own way, sternly breaks up with her. He leaves, he drives off, presumably to the summer camp, since originally he was going to miss the summer camp so he can go away with Lily for those couple weeks. But I guess since now that's off, he's like, you know what? Summer camp's probably still accepting last-minute applications, and again, I'm pretty sure that this summer camp is doing free service, you know, free room and board, free food, with barely any donations. I mean, I'm pretty sure Ricky could just waltz right into camp without any sort of payment slip, but regardless of that, I don't know how summer camp works. I really don't know. I've never been to summer camp, but sounds like fun, though. Anywho, so back over to Nini and Miss Jen, because sadly Miss Jen and Nini are not main cast material, like I mentioned before earlier, because, you know, we're not at the school. And it's actually funny to say, because I swear to God, there's a show I watched when I was younger, and one of the characters said, hey, when we're not at the school, like, I'm not important in your life. Like, you know, I'm only there when it's school-related stuff, which honestly is pretty fun. I think it was an anime I watched. I have to go find out that show eventually, but yeah, but like I said before, Miss Jen's off on a week-long cruise with Ricky's dad, and obviously Nini's off with her moms to a road trip to Southern California for their vacation. And they're both a little bit uncomfortable with this certain decision. Miss Jen has the minor excuse of, like, you know, she's a country girl, and she never really thought as a cruise to be her vacation itinerary spot. But as well as, again, like, you know what, you're getting this for free, or maybe it's copay. I really don't know how it works in their relationship, but still. And then again, I don't believe a teacher's salary, whatever Ricky's dad's doing, is enough to pay this fucking guru, so I could be wrong in that. But she's going because she actually likes Ricky's dad, and she wants to give this relationship a chance. And sad to say, Mr. Tech Teacher from last season did not get that chance. I guess he's kind of off on the winds, sadly. Toodaloo. And Nini's kind of a bit torn again right now because, you know, she is now working with Gina's brother, who's a music producer, who recommended to her that she should start, like, getting ready for, like, you know, actually making it big, which in his recommendation that she should write a song a day and keep the creative juices going. But since that moment, it hasn't happened. You know, she wrote one song, i.e. just the instrumental, but she hasn't wrote any lyrics, she hasn't wrote a name yet, she doesn't even have anything yet, and she's struggling because, like, she's at that critical stage where, like, she feels like she's finally getting to the step where she needs to be, but she's just lacking the final push. And at first I was thinking, oh, okay, please don't make this cliche and, like, say, like, I miss Ricky, or I need Ricky back, or I need, like, someone like Ricky again. But no, she just says she's missing a spark, and she doesn't know exactly what that spark is, and maybe this road trip will help her, but also at the same time she feels like this could be a burden, that this could disrupt everything that's going on with her life right now, that maybe the going on the road trip isn't such a bad idea, as well as she's missing out, not going to the camp, you know, being with her friends for their last summer together for high school and before they graduate, which I do get all these points. I do understand that. It just becomes questionable, like, what is the spark that she's looking for? Like, what is it? We don't know yet. And Miss Jen, you know, being, like, the teacher / pseudo friend that she is, she's giving her advice to her, but, you know, it's always about, like, what Nini's gonna have to find the answer on her own on this road trip. So they hug, they say goodbye. You know, we'll see them next season together. Back over at the camp, they're getting acquainted to their new surroundings. EG turns out to be the CIT for the boys' cabin, and so they meet their new male roommates. And the only one that stands out, in my opinion, is the loner dude. I don't know his name yet. He's just kind of, like, you know, mysterious, got this mysterious aura. Like, he's so distant from everyone else, and he just wants to be alone and just be, I don't know, unique in his own way. The girls, this is honestly being like a weird pairing for the girls this season, even though they were paired up a lot last season because Nene was like kind of halfway gone in between, so they were kind of like just doing their own thing. But it seems like there's a strong like teen she-wolf pack, as I like to label it, between them. But they still have a lot to learn more about each other, like just because they love musicals and they have this like shared connection with High School Musical, it doesn't entirely mean it's a whole friendship built on them. Even when EJ's cousin mentions that, like, yeah, I usually do this LARPing thing all summer long. That's why I never got to go to these camps with EJ. And Courtney and Gina were like, okay, we're gonna find out a lot more about each other this summer, I guess. You got a point. You really got a point there. They meet their own CIT. I think it's the same person. I don't think it's the same. I think these are two separate persons. I'm just confusing the both because there's one camper named Gadget who somehow just gets all the leftover scrap technology parts from the camp. I really don't know how it works. I think they have another CIT, which is a different character. I'm not entirely sure about that. Don't quote me on that, but they're getting along fine. Gina is definitely for this season. Gina and EJ, they're doing their own takes on the HSM2 storyline where Troy and Gabriella, this is their first summer actually being a couple. This is like so many firsts for them, especially for Gina, and it kind of makes sense for this to be EJ and Gina's season. Like, it makes sense that this is what they're adapting. It makes sense in a lot of ways. It really does, and I'm actually very happy for it. But mostly is, Gina just wants this to be the best summer of her life, finally having a boyfriend, finally staying in town for a long time with friends. This is just a bunch of summer firsts for her, and it's great. It's great to see her like be happy. But of course, like we all know, how does an Italy crash down? How do we know? We reached that night where there's this big, like, the reason why the campus had such an influx of new campers this year was because there's this big celebrity guest that's supposed to be on the camp for the next 2 weeks, and everyone's just curious and figuring out who is the big guest star, who's the big celebrity. We know who it is, but they don't know who it is, and EJ's kind of keeping that a secret from everyone else. So they get to the campsite. The female CIT sings the camp song, I guess, or her rendition of it, whatever it is. She brings out the main counselor, or the main head scoutmaster, scout leader. I don't remember what the terminology is on that front. It's Jason Earls. I forgot what the frick they called him, but in the show, but it's Jason Earls, and if you're a Disney kid, you obviously know who he is. He was in Hannah Montana. He was in Kicking It. He has done a lot of other side work in between then and there. It's been a while since I've seen him, though. It's been a while. He still has that same face. A little bit older, but same face. Also, fun fact, sorry to be off hoot here, but did you know when he was filming Hannah Montana, he was supposed to be playing Hannah's younger brother or older brother, some closer age to her. Bro, the guy was already like approaching his 30s when he was shooting that show. Like, bruh. Like, how do you, like, okay, you know what, it is what it is. It is what it is. But now he's back, he's back in the full force, actually, as a counselor. He's had his fair share of camp years, so he's kind of like going through the motions here. But the only thing that's exciting him is that this year they have a special celebrity guest who's going to be the director for their own musical play this year. But first of all, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the world of High School Musical. It's Corbin Bleu. A.K.A. Chad Danford from the original trilogy. It's great to see him again. And, it's, first of all, this is the most meta moment I've ever seen. There's some contradictions here. There really is. Freaking thing. Sorry. Played those characters again after so long. It makes no sense without it being a proper or a reunion special. Like, it doesn't make sense for him to do that. So him just being playing himself is actually pretty fun. It was. And he's doing and we're slowly kind of like breaking it down. Originally, everyone's just so hyped that, like, he's here, and, like, especially our Wildcats who have, like, been so in tune with High School Musical since the start of the year that one of, like, the big six are here in front of us. It's like, it's a big moment for them. And and then it's all kind of start breaking down, because, like, he kind of goes into, like, the corporate messaging where, like, he reveals that, yeah, Frozen is the musical they're doing the first ever school play rendition of it here at the camp. And then once this is over, all the camps, all the schools around the world will be able to like get the Frozen play rendition of it for them to perform at their high schools. But they get to do the first one. And on top of that, Disney is commissioning a Disney Plus documentary about the making of the first Frozen musical school play. And which I'm like, of all the things, first of all, that is the most meta thing to say. Like, we are watching this show on Disney Plus, and you're talking about filming a special on Disney Plus. And I forgot for a second. Yeah, in the show, Disney is a real company. The High School Musical movies are a real thing. So it wouldn't be that bullish to think they have their own version of Disney Plus. I should not be surprised there, but anywho, so they're all excited. They're ready to go, and they're about to head off. Corbin and his producer are about to head off. Well, not the producer, the cameraman. They're about to head off on their copter, which confuses the counselor for a bit because he's like, "Wait, I thought you were going to stay on camp because you're going to be directing the play, right?" He's like, "Oh no! I'm directing the special about the making of the play. I'm not doing any of the directing itself. That's too crazy for me. That's a conflict of interest there." So, the council's like so confused because like, wait, I thought you were going to direct it because we just fired our last director. He's off in Alaska. And he's like, whoa, you got this, man. I'll be back in a few days to start shooting the B-roll footage, so I'll see you then. And it's like, I love like they're trying to do something different. Like they're trying to actually give Corbin some like to make it this new character of himself. But it's kind of like a dick move that like he's doing this. And earlier he mentioned like, I know some Wildcats in the crowd, and they're like, oh my God, this is the first acknowledgement. And he's like, I'll sign my headshots later for you. I'm like, God damn, that's not what I was expecting, but all right. Either way, so he heads up. The council's like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Because I got no one. He finds EJ just conveniently standing right behind him, and he's like, hey, you want to direct the play? He's like, oh, I don't want to do this, man. I want to have like an epic summer romance with my girl. And he's like, great, you got this, man. Make this an epic summer for you. So he leaves, and he has to slowly break Gina the news. Like, yeah, some of the summer stuff are gonna have to cut out because I'm gonna be directing this play. And Gina's like, you know what? It doesn't matter. What else can go wrong? What else can happen? How else can our summer be disrupted? Ricky shows up, which I'm like, are you trying to insinuate Ricky's a threat? Because I know he and Gina had somewhat of a thing last season. Not last season, like for the last couple seasons, there was like a little bit of a thing. But of course, Gina obviously ended up with EJ. But so now, like, how does that factor into things? Because EJ's still a little bit uncomfortable around Ricky. He is. Like, they never really solidify some sort of broship or anything. So it's a little bit off here for them. But, they'll have to get through it. Also, I forgot to mention when Ricky was driving out to the camp, they performed a new song with him. I'm pretty sure it's one of the actors' actual songs. I thought it was pretty good. I actually like that song a lot. I was also surprised, like, besides what time is it? Like, they just did not do any big like adaptions. Yeah, I know they're doing some Camp Rock songs later this year. And initially, I thought, like, do I want to review the Camp Rock movies before this one? I was like, you know what? I've seen parts of Camp Rock 1. I think I should be good enough for that. But yeah, that's where the episode ends with Nene heading off on her own road trip as the Wildcats are about to begin this brand new bold summer of adventure, not knowing where they're going to find themselves at the end of it. And yeah, that was it for this week's episode. So for me, like I was saying from the top, I think this episode kind of got a little bit too meta. It kind of got a little bit too like on the nose with certain things, but I still enjoyed it. It definitely is a new direction for the show. They're definitely taking like the summer can change anything vibe for anything, having a smaller cast, bringing in a couple of new faces, kind of bringing our main characters to like, what is the next step of their journey? What self-discovery they're going to find out about each other this summer. I'm excited for it. Bringing Corbin Blue back, it was a welcome treat. It creates a little bit of like a confusion though, because like if these guys actually know their stuff and they're really big HSM fans, then why didn't back in season 1 they didn't mention hey, here's the I forgot her name. She was the other girl, she was the dancer from the movie. She was there. She was like a big part of the cast, not like main cast, but she was like the main supporting cast. She was at the counselor meeting, so like they didn't recognize her. And obviously Ryan was there, well, not Ryan, Lucas playing Ryan in Miss Jensen's Imagination. So now we have Corbin. So when do we get Monique? When do we get her back? We need Monique back. We need her back in season 4. We need to write her in somewhere. We need to create a smart character and then someone bring her in. That's what we need to do. Also, before I finish up the review, What's ironic is a lot of fans were kind of clamoring on the internet because Vanessa Hudgens and Zac Efron, not together, but separately, returned to East High, like the actual school, after many, many years, and they weren't in the same place. They weren't on the same day. They just went on two separate days to Utah, of all places. So many fans were speculating that they were going to come back on the show. First of all, as much as you're reaching for the straws here, you're trying to reach for something. It's not going to happen. It's not. Like, first of all, Zac is way too fucking expensive. There's absolutely no way he's going to come back. And I could be wrong, though. I could be wrong. But I feel like if you were going to bring them back, it would be, you just can't do it. It has to be Troy and Gabrielle together. They're never going to do it together again. So it's just not going to happen. It sadly is not going to happen. So it does suck. You can bring back Ashley Tisdale. I think she'll be willing to come back. I think you can bring back Monique's actress. Even any one of the other East High members, you can absolutely bring them back at any point in the show. I'm repeating this again because it's been so many years. It's been so many years since this show started. I just don't see that happening. I really don't. So I'm sorry to burst your bubble. I just don't believe we're going to get that reunion at any point. If anything, if they were somehow able to pull off a 4 or a reunion special, let it be there if they're able to work out some sort of deal. But until then, it just won't happen. It sadly won't be. But in terms of this episode, I'm still excited for what the remaining of season 3 has to store. What adaptations are they going to take from HSM2 to their spin on it, as well as what other new things they're going to explore down the road. How would Nini's story be blocked out in terms of her limited appearance? That's going to be interesting to see. And as well, I'm just interested. I'm just really interested to see how this summer season's going to go. It's experimental. It's going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully we'll be left with some smile on our faces when we wrap up the season. So for me, I'm going to give this episode 2 thumbs up. I really enjoyed it. And that's going to do it for me today, everyone. So please let me know down below, what did you think of the season 3 premiere of High School Musical, the series? Let's start the conversation down below. I think that's going to do it for me today, everyone, because I'm starting to jabber on like I always do. So if you're unaware, this has been What's in the 2 from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the 3rd season of High School Musical, the series. If you want to see more of us, please subscribe to us on youtube.com/ActionX videos. We're also on our What's in the 2 side of things. We're currently doing Tom Swift reviews each and every week after brand new episodes on the CW, so go check them out there. But until then, if you don't care about High School Musical, you're in luck. We'll be back for another 7 weeks of episode reviews, our usual rigmarole. It's going to be a fun 10 weeks of fun with you. Just a heads up, because I'm allowed to give heads up. So I'll be going away 2 weeks out of this next 10-week period, so those will be recorded in new areas that you never seen before. Actually, one of them might be returning from a different review setup, but it's gonna be a lot of fun, those reviews, when I'm away, or I'll still be watching the show even when I'm not local. So just letting you know that we're not taking a break. We're gonna go full on till the end in September, so stay tuned for that. But again, this has been What's the 2 from ActionX. Please subscribe to us on youtube.com/ActionX videos. Ring that bell for notification when our next episode reviews live. Please also like, favorite, share if you want to, as well as follow us on social media to stay up to date with any sort of updates we may have for the channels. But until we see each other again, for all you Wildcats out there, it's great to see you again, and I can't wait to enjoy the next 9 weeks of fun with you. But until next time, stay safe out there, be good to each other, and as always, peace out. What time is it? Summertime.